What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of Inder's Notes. I am Inder, and here are some of my notes. If you're like me and a fan of Pokemon Unite, you spent this past weekend watching the World Championships at London, the finals of the Pokemon Unite Championship Series, and some of the most competitive games we've seen to date. Part of these competitive games were some wild comebacks. Teams that lost Zapdos mounted a comeback. Teams that lost Zapdos mounted a comeback, and the other team mounted a comeback. No matter what it was, we saw sieges happen, games where you thought one team was out and they ended up making a win. Sometimes teams didn't even know if they were in the lead or not, and they had to rely on the end game scoreboard and wait for that marker to go up to really know if they're in the game or not. And obviously most of this comes down to the fact that this is some of the most competitive games and the games with the most stakes on the line for these teams, and they're just never going to give up and try to win under any circumstances possible. But a small part of this has also contributed to the fact that surrendering is just not an option in professional level games. Well, the option is technically there, but it's not allowed. It's against the rules. And the reason for that is that it's a spectator sport. People sign up to watch a 10-minute game, and there's an audience, a live audience, and a Twitch or YouTube or digital audience that's expecting a game of 10 minutes, and they want to see that game be played out. The winning team deserves their chance at sitting there and winning their game throughout the 10 minutes, not having to go through a surrender, and the losing team deserves a chance to try and mount the comeback. Can happen, it has happened, and until the game is some fundamentally changed, it will continue to happen. Games are simply just always winnable. And the thing is a lot of these comebacks come on the back of either the defending team fumbling the bag or the offensive team finding an opening and taking advantage of a mistake. And these types of mistakes happen a lot more often in your solo queue games than you might even realize. How many times have you seen a team that's won Zapdos and had one or two people overstay their welcome, try to score an additional 1 or 2 points, and they get knocked out for an extra 30 seconds? If all the offensive teams did was hold on to their extra unites and push down a lane, they'd be able to mount the comeback. Now, obviously, this isn't going to happen until the level of the quality level of these games goes up, but we won't let it have an opportunity to happen if people are constantly surrendering and giving up on their games. And if that option wasn't there, if they didn't have it in the back of their mind that they could surrender and save an extra minute and a half of their time, sometimes you might see people position themselves to try and make a comeback. Still gonna see a handful of people just go AFK and say, get me out of this game, and that's okay. That's normal. I expect that to happen, but at least some portion of the player base might continue to play the game with me and try to mount the comeback. The other problem with surrendering is that it's used as a toxic vehicle. You have pings in the game that you can use to talk to your teammates or alert your teammates of things, but those often go unnoticed. You've got the in-game chat wheel with preset chat messages that sometimes people can spam thanks even though they don't mean thanks and try to be toxic. And you've got voice chat, which is heavily moderated, thankfully, as it should be. Not a whole lot of people are using it because you have to actually use your voice, have a mic set up and whatnot. The way that people do vent out their frustration and when they do want to be toxic is they throw up a surrender vote. Team loses Dread, throw the surrender vote. Team doesn't show up to Dread, throw up the surrender vote. And that surrender vote is incredibly annoying. Those red circles, those green circles being populated on that massive UI element in my peripheral vision just frustrates me simply at the sight of it. And I'd say we want to remove elements of toxicity from the game. Pokemon Unite's taking a very toxic-free approach by not adding typical things like a text chat or being able to message your teammates after a game, simply because we don't want to see what we see happen in League of Legends, where death threats are being made, slurs are being thrown out, and the overall game experience for people is just low when it comes to their mental state and how nice people can be. The Pokemon Unite's done a great job for the most part with something like that. I'd like to see them go a step further and remove the option for people to surrender altogether. Now, I say this and I've talked about this to other people, and what they tell me is that, look, what if someone's holding me hostage? What if they're not letting me play the game? They're playing Crustle and they're rock tombing me over and over again. They're playing Alolan Ninetales and they throw out avalanches, or they're just running it down and they're feeding and giving the enemy team more experience. And to that I say, Doesn't happen very often. I haven't seen it happen at all in the last 1,000 or so games in my recent memory of playing Pokemon Unite. And even if it does happen, let that person throw their tantrum. If there's no surrender vote option, report them. And, you know, along with removing the surrender vote, let's also look to improve our reporting system. And when I say improve reporting system, handing out some more harsher punishments to people that are clearly being toxic. And some people might also say, look, the game's very clearly over. Our draft is horrible. We've got 4 speedsters and a flail Snorlax, and they've got a comp that they ripped from the finals of Worlds. And we're down 400 points. What's the point of even playing this game? A clear team is gapped when it comes to the skill, micro skill. I could tell from the macro they don't know what they're doing, and even from this pick selection screen, my team's got, you know, goal getters, potions, probably running horrible emblems. Like, they have no idea what they're doing. Let me out of this game, save me some time. And that's not a bad argument, but what I want to see is people have the courage to try to win these games despite having teammates that might not be there. Despite maybe someone goes AFK and you want to win the game 4v5. It can happen. It has happened. And until Zapdos is in the stage that it's at, any team can win. Whether you're down 400 points and all your goalposts are down, all it takes is one lucky Zap steal and you can win the game. We saw during the Unite Championship Series a team go down, all 5 members of them down, a Slowbro as they're dying, throw Scald onto Zapdos, and that Zapdos be taken by that Slowbro, not as they were dropping down, but 2 seconds later, because Scald lasts long enough that as the team was trying to take it down with their secures, that one lucky Scald tick ended up taking it. And they ended up winning that game. Now, is this going to happen often? No, but it can happen. And I also saw games where teams lost Zapdos and professional teams weren't able to perfectly defend against sieges, whether it be the opposing team finding opportunities or windows to make a push, or the defending team just fumbling the bag. Saw a team win a buzzer beater with Sylveon, a buzzer beater with Cramorant on goals that could have probably been defended if the defending team was more on top of it. But nerves, thinking you've already won the game, and opposing teams finding opportunities can always trump one simple attempt at defending your base. Now, the pros can fumble up defenses. I'm sure our solo queue players can as well. And we've seen countless number of times in professional Unite amazing comebacks happen and some history be made. It's not a lot of history to be made in solo queue, but I think we can go and improve the overall quality of the game. Don't let people surrender, and just like the pros, completely remove it as an option for us. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you like this style of video, and if you're not subscribed, throw a subscribe down there as well. Thank you. Bye. What? I just want to play the game. Hello? It's what?